Okay, so building an online business today, it can feel a bit like walking a tightrope, right? Digitally, I mean.
Absolutely.
You're trying to juggle social media. Maybe you've got a website that's still half finished.
hmm
You're wrestling with payment requests coming in on chat apps everywhere. And people keep asking, okay, but where do I actually buy this thing?
Yeah, that's the killer question.
It's more than just annoying, isn't it? This kind of digital fragmentation, it really drains your energy. It can be a huge roadblock to actually growing.
It really can. Every extra click, every confused customer jumping between apps, that's potentially a lost sale.
Exactly. But what if there was a simpler way, like a really powerful solution for entrepreneurs, especially, the ones starting out with very little?
Well, that's what's so interesting, that global challenge. We're seeing some really innovative ways it's being tackled in specific places. And for this deep dive, we're focusing on something that's being called the one-page startup, particularly how it's taking off in South Africa.
South Africa, okay.
Yeah. Our sources are highlighting how, everyday entrepreneurs there are building these really effective digital presences using just their phones,
Yeah.
often using a platform called Acalytica.
Acalytica, got it.
It's a pretty clever approach, actually. Cuts right through all that digital noise we were just talking about.
So the big question we're really getting into today is how? How are these entrepreneurs, especially those maybe without huge resources, managing to create such effective digital shops in a world that feels, well, so fragmented?
Right.
We're going to unpack this model coming out of South Africa, this one-page startup idea. We want to understand what it really is, how it helps cut through that digital friction, and maybe what underlying principles it teaches us about having a successful online presence today.
Okay.
Because the core problem, as our sources really point out, it's usually not the product itself or the service.
No, often the product is great.
It's that your online shop front ends up just spread all over the place. You're bouncing customers between platforms.
And that fragmentation, it's not just tiring for the business owner, it actually hurts conversion rates. It damages brand consistency.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine trying to explain your whole business, what you offer, the prices, how people pay across like 5 or 6 different apps, each with its own little quirks.
Yeah, it's inefficient.
And think about the time entrepreneurs spend just managing that digital chaos. It must seriously limit their ability to actually focus on making their product better, right?
Totally. And if you look at the bigger picture, this points to a huge bottleneck for small businesses everywhere, really. The sheer complexity, the cost of setting up a working online presence if you don't have deep tech skills or a big budget.
Right.
So it raises this crucial question. How do you give these entrepreneurs a central digital space? Something that's like their HQ, their shop, their business card, all rolled into one.
And crucially, something they actually own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That they own.
And that seems to be exactly where this one-page startup idea comes in. Our sources show how a platform, like Acalytica you mentioned, gives you this really focused, mobile-friendly page, a place where you can put everything together: products, services, payment links, contact forms, even customer reviews, links to all your socials.
Centralizing it all.
It's designed to be your complete digital hub, and you can apparently create it in minutes, straight from your phone, and then just share that one link everywhere.
That's the idea. And what's really smart about this model, it's not just the simplicity for the user. It's also apparently technically very efficient.
Oh, so?
Well, the sources suggest platforms built like this are incredibly lightweight. They load fast, which is vital for mobile users, especially if they're on patchy data plans.
Ah, good point.
It kind of bypasses the need for really heavy server stuff, almost like a super optimized single-page app. So it's robust, it's accessible, even if the internet connection isn't perfect. That removes a big technical hurdle.
Okay, that technical side, that sounds like a huge plus for accessibility. But what about growth? For someone who might eventually want, a more complex multi-page site, is this just a stepping stone, or could it hold them back later? What's the nuance there with this less is more thing?
It's a really good question, and it touches on the strategy behind it. Look, for most small businesses, especially when they're just starting, a complex multi-page website is often, well, it's overkill.
Yeah, I can see that.
It can be a massive distraction.
Yeah.
A one-page startup, like the ones on Acalytica, it really nails the 80-20 rule. It gives you, say, 80% of the functions that 99% of these businesses actually need, but with maybe 20% of the effort.
Right. Focus on the essentials.
Exactly. It optimizes for getting sales, for simplicity first. Then, if a business genuinely grows beyond that, the foundation they've built, the clear product info, the working payment system, makes moving to something bigger much, much smoother.
Ah, okay. So it provides that initial traction instead of demanding huge infrastructure right at the start.
Precisely. It gets the moving.
I get it. So it's not just theory. We're actually seeing this make a real difference for businesses.
Oh, absolutely. The impact is real. Take someone like Nomsa in Soweto. She makes these beautiful hand-poured soy candles.
Okay.
No tech background at all. But she was drowning in DMs, trying to take order. It was chaos.
I can imagine.
So with Acalytica, she set up this clean, simple page, literally in minutes, apparently. Now, customers click, order, pay. She's managing orders efficiently, even landed some spa clients from across the province.
Wow.
And her Instagram bio, just one link, her Acalytica page. It streamlines everything.
That's powerful. And you mentioned another example.
Yeah, Sipho.
Yeah.
He's based in a small village in the Eastern Cape, and he tutors high school math.
Yeah.
He used to post his schedule on, like, WhatsApp statuses, which,
Nightmare to keep updated, I bet. And payments.
Exactly. Total nightmare. Now, his Acalytica page. It clearly shows his subjects, his prices, and gives parents a simple, trusted way to book and pay.
Makes sense for parents.
Parents love the clarity. Students find it easy. And Sipho, he gets paid faster, more reliably. It's just better.
It's actually really inspiring, isn't it, how the South African entrepreneurs are creating solutions that fit their specific needs. It shows that great digital ideas can come from anywhere, built on, cleverness and making do.
It really does. And this brings us back to why. Why does a platform built on this one-page startup idea, like Acalytica, work so well for them?
Well, first, I think its real disruptive edge is just how incredibly accessible it is. It completely sidesteps the usual barriers like needing expensive web developers or having serious tech know-how.
Right, no coding needed.
No coding, no spending hours on tutorials. All you genuinely need is a phone and some kind of internet connection. That really democratizes having a proper online shop for, anyone with a smartphone.
That level of access is huge. And you mentioned cost earlier, too. It's affordable.
Yeah, remarkably so. It's
Right.
typically designed so it's free to actually set up your page. They only take a small commission when you make a sale.
So pay as you go, essentially. Kind of. But crucially, no upfront costs. No hidden monthly fees. No confusing subscription levels, at least not for beginners. The financial barrier is basically zero, which is massive for entrepreneurs working with tight margins.
Definitely. Low risk to just try it out.
Exactly. And beyond cost, there's this huge advantage in just speed and efficiency. Sources say you can often get your whole page built in under 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Seriously.
Yeah. Which means you can change things quickly, you can start selling almost immediately. And critically, these platforms often have built-in analytics.
Okay, so you can see what's working.
Right away. Track performance, adapt your offers in real time. That combination, fast setup and instant feedback, is incredibly powerful for small, agile businesses. Lets them test and tweak without betting the farm.
So, pulling this all together, what does it really mean for the entrepreneur? What this one-page startup approach, which Acalytica seems to embody so well, what it really points to is it's a shift, isn't it, towards having a core-owned digital presence that's built for growth from the start. It simplifies all that chaos we talked about. It empowers people like Nomsa and Sipho to build their businesses on, solid ground.
Yeah, and you touched on something really key there. Owned digital presence. The core message is about not building your business purely on rented land.
Right, I've heard that phrase. What does that really mean in this context?
Well, rented land is basically, your social media profiles, maybe third-party marketplace listings, places where you don't control the rules.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You're at the mercy of their algorithms, their policy changes.
Exactly. Their terms of service. You don't fully own your customer data, your brand's presentation, or even the relationship you have with your customers. The platform is always the intermediary.
That makes sense. It feels precarious.
It can be.
Yeah.
So Acalytica, in this whole one-page startup idea, lets you build that central owned digital asset, your single source of truth online.
Your home base.
Your home base.
Wow.
It reduces the risk of relying too much on platforms you don't control. It ensures your branding is consistent. And it lets you build those customer relationships directly without someone else changing the rules on you. It's about owning your digital space from day one. That fosters real stability, real long-term growth potential.
So look, If you ever felt just swamped by the complexity of getting your business properly online, this one-page startup model, like we've seen with Acalytica, it really does offer a different path.
A much simpler one.
Yeah, it radically simplifies things, makes having an effective online presence accessible for passionate entrepreneurs, whether they're making candles in Soweto like Nomsa or tutoring math like Sipho in the Eastern Cape. These aren't Silicon Valley tech founders we're talking about.
Not at all. They're everyday entrepreneurs solving real problems. And connecting it back to the big picture, Acalytica's key strengths really highlight this shift. That ease of use, just needing a phone and internet. The affordability, free to start, commission-based. That incredible speed page ready in under 10 minutes, selling instantly, built-in analytics, and how it works for so many different business types. It all comes back to that powerful idea. Stop building your business purely on rented land.
It really shows sophisticated solutions don't have to be complicated ones.
Precisely.
Okay, that leaves us with a really interesting thought to chew on, doesn't it? If just a single mobile-friendly page can make such a fundamental difference to a small business, from candles in Soweto to math tutoring way out in the Eastern Cape, what does that really tell us about what's truly essential for digital entrepreneurship now in this mobile-first world? And maybe more pointedly for you listening, what could the simpler approach mean for your own way of building or maybe even supporting a brand online today?